In a previous video, I made the moderately rash statement that there's not much use for a Starship that can't get beyond low Earth orbit except to lift national security payloads like enormous surveillance satellites. Let's drill into the question of whether the Starship project can pivot if its original goals look to be out of reach. One possible pivot would be for the Starship project to concede that a reusable second stage is unlikely to work. The simple pivot here would be to use an expendable second stage, but that's going to be difficult to do with competitive pricing because the Starship first stage is designed to separate from the second stage fairly early to enable the first stage to fly back to where it was launched from. Making the first stage bigger and making it go higher complicates the reusability of the first stage. The higher and farther it goes, the more fuel is required to take it back to its launch pad. If it were to use landing legs and land on a barge, that would make recovering the first stage simpler because the barge could be placed near an optimal location in terms of fuel requirements for landing the first stage. But that would make rapid reusability require a larger fleet of first stage boosters. What about the Starship upper stage? Because the upper stage has to accommodate both the relatively low stage separation and it has to reach Earth orbit. It burns a lot of fuel doing that, which is why it requires in-orbit refueling to go beyond Earth orbit. Even though its destination without refueling is Earth orbit, it goes much higher than the first stage booster. That's why the upper stage needs a heat shield and the booster does not. What if Starship were to change up these trade-offs? What if the first stage got bigger, went farther, and was recovered on a barge, and the second stage was expendable? Then the second stage would be lighter, simpler, and it could even put a payload on a trajectory to Mars without in-orbit refueling. How can I be so sure about the capabilities of such a speculative-seeming change of parameters? Smarter people than me have done the calculations. Those calculations and the resulting rockets and probes were done for the Escapade mission to Mars. Escapade will send 2 probes to Mars. On what rocket? A Blue Origin New Glenn. This won't happen before September of this year, and there might be some delays after that, of course, but we will see the results of different choices soon enough.